The average non-flyer seems to have the idea that flying an airplane is like walking a tightrope, that you're struggling every second to keep the plane up there. But actually, the average well-rigged airplane is very easy to fly. Now you take over the controls, and we'll trim the plane so it'll fly with a minimum of effort on your part. Let's experiment a little with the trim tab. Move it forward, and the stick wants to go forward. The more you move the tab forward, the greater the forward pressure exerted on your hand by the stick. Move the tab back, and the stick wants to go back. And the more you move it back, the greater the back pressure. Now try to adjust it so there's no pressure at all on the stick. Get it just right, and if the air is smooth, you can take your hand off the stick entirely for a moment. Got your hands off? As a matter of fact, you can also cruise many planes straight and level without any rudder control. Of course, you won't actually want to fly that way. That was only a demonstration of how inherently stable the plane is. One of the first steps in learning to fly is to develop the ability to hold the plane in this attitude. Notice the position of the nose on the horizon. And the wings. Notice their position in relation to the horizon. You can tell they're level by the fact that you can see the same amount of sky under each side of the top wing. You remember in a previous film, we illustrated the correct use of the eyes by demonstrating that a person can look straight ahead and yet see objects on either side and even slightly back of his eyes, giving him in all a range of vision covering approximately 210 of the 360 degrees. Seated in the cockpit of the airplane, you should be able to look ahead and still see the attitude of your wings without looking directly at them.
Of course, our friend McDribble, as might be expected, has failed entirely to get the significance of this point. His attention is concentrated on keeping one particular bolt on the engine right on the horizon. In other words, he has put on the blinders. He sees only the position of that bolt on the horizon. And look what happens. You'll probably have a good deal of trouble maintaining the attitude you want until you learn how to use that full 210-degree range of vision. Also learn to use your ears in judging the plane's attitude. Listen to the engine. It's not laboring or racing. It's running along at a steady, comfortable pace.
You want to get used to that sound. Sight, sound, and feel, the way you feel in the cockpit, all help you to keep the plane in level flight. But how do you hold the plane in this straight and level attitude? Actually, you don't hold it there. You can't. Even when the plane is trimmed up, its attitude is subject to frequent change without notice. A wing drops a little, so you pick it up. Your nose wanders slightly to one side or the other of your heading. You bring it back. So flying straight and level is merely a matter of helping the plane by being on the ball, ready to bring it back to straight and level attitude the instant it gets off. Previously, we said that an airplane is turned by banking the wing. But if that's the case, then what's the rudder for? A boat is turned by its rudder, so lots of people think that an airplane likewise is turned by its rudder. Let's try it and see what happens. Keeping our wings level, we press right rudder. And sure enough, the nose comes around to the right. It looks like we're turning, but are we? Let's repeat that same maneuver, watching it from a different point of view. Our present heading is along that highway below, and we want to make a 90-degree turn to a new heading. We apply right rudder. Our nose comes around all right, but the plane itself tries to continue skidding right along the same old course. The only difference being that the nose is cocked off to the right. If you hold the plane this way long enough, it will gradually change its course very much as a racing car on a dirt track skids around a flat turn. However, we are not turning, we are skidding around the turn. It is a very sloppy and incidentally a very dangerous operation. Now let us try making a turn by banking the plane. If we want to turn to the right, we bank the plane to the right. But instead of immediately starting a right turn, the plane hesitates and may even pull off a little to the left. This is because of the increased resistance of the outside aileron. So the plane gets into the turn rather awkwardly. However, once the bank is established and the turn started, the plane behaves very nicely until we're ready to bring it out of the turn. And then again, recovery to straight flight is quite sloppy. So we need something to facilitate entry into and recovery from turns. First, something to counteract the plane's hesitation or momentary tendency to turn away from the direction of bank. And that is one of the functions of the rudder. Right rudder, as we have seen, will make the nose want to pull over to the right. So right rudder and the plane's tendency to turn to the left will cancel each other out, leaving the plane free to turn smoothly to the right when banked to the right. But let's stop the picture again. We have already seen that once the plane has entered the turn and the bank is established, we no longer need right aileron. As a matter of fact, we may even need a little left aileron to keep the plane from banking too much. And since right rudder was needed only to counteract aileron resistance, naturally we no longer need any right rudder. Thus we continue on around the turn to the new heading. To bring the plane out of the turn, we use left aileron, combining it with a little left rudder to counteract aileron resistance.
What's this? Yes, we might have known that only McDribble could be responsible for such strange execution. Look, Mac, that stick isn't going to get away from you. You don't have to strangle it, and you don't have to manhandle the airplane. Be gentle, but firm. Take it easy. Hold the stick lightly. Remember, you're taking the pulse of the airplane at all times. Your knees should be relaxed with the weight of your legs on your heels and the balls of your feet resting lightly on the rudder pedals. There. That's better.
Now let's try a few turns. And here's what a good turn looks like from the pilot's point of view. The instant your wings leave the level attitude and begin a bank, the nose begins to move smoothly in the direction of bank. Let's go back and do that again. The instant your wings leave the level attitude and begin a bank, the nose begins to move smoothly in the direction of bank. After the turn is established, the angle of bank, that is the angle the wings make with the horizon, remains constant. And the nose remains on the horizon as in straight and level flight. Then, when you're ready to recover from the turn, your nose stops moving at the same instant your wings reach the level attitude. Not a second sooner or later. You achieve this kind of turn by using a combination of aileron and rudder in the right amounts and in proper relation to each other. In other words, you coordinate rudder with aileron. One of the easiest ways of knowing whether or not you're properly coordinating your aileron and rudder is by watching the way the nose moves. If on entering a turn the nose hesitates and then starts to move, chances are you're not using enough rudder, or you're applying your rudder too late. But if on entering a turn the nose moves too fast, you're probably using too much rudder, or you're applying rudder too soon. Experiment with your rudder pedals until you get the right adjustment to give you a smooth, well-balanced turn. And try to feel the balance of the turn. If you feel like you're being pushed one side or the other in the cockpit, even slightly, the chances are your turn is not balanced. Again, experiment gently with your rudders until that unbalanced feeling disappears. But just making a turn is one thing. Making a turn which comes out on a specific and predetermined heading is something else. Here again, if you will draw on your experiences in driving an automobile, you can avoid some of the most common mistakes in turns. An intersection like this one forces the automobile driver to make a very sharp turn. But at a broad intersection like this, no driver in his right mind would turn so sharply. No, he'd take advantage of the extra room and make a much more gentle, more comfortable turn. Likewise in the air. Suppose we're flying along a course like this, and want to change heading 90 degrees to a course like this. If we wait too long to start our turn, we'll have to make our bank steep and the turn sharp, which would be just as foolish as the automobile driver going clear out to the middle of the intersection and then making a sharp angle turn. But if we start back here, we can make a gentle turn with a very shallow bank, very much as the automobile driver does, wherever the limits of the intersection will allow him. Another very common mistake which students make in connection with turns may also be illustrated in the automobile. When a motorist makes a turn, he doesn't whip the wheel around suddenly into the desired degree of turn and then whip it back again after he reaches the new heading. No, he enters the turn much more gently, turning the steering wheel slowly to give him just the degree of turn he wants. Then, as he sees he's approaching his new heading, he starts to straighten out ahead of time, so that he reaches the new heading at the same instant his wheels are once more pointed straight ahead. Likewise, except where necessity demands it, the experienced pilot doesn't whip suddenly into a bank and then whip out of it. Rather, wherever possible, he plans his turn well ahead so he has plenty of room for it. He enters the bank unhurriedly, continuing to steepen it up until he's established the bank, which will give him the rate of turn he wants. If he sees he's turning too wide and is in danger of overshooting his new heading, he can steepen up the bank, thereby making his turn sharper. On the other hand, if he sees he's turning too short and is in danger of undershooting his new heading, he can shallow his bank, thereby making his turn less sharp. Then, when he sees he's coming around to the new heading, he begins slowly to decrease his bank, planning his recovery from the turn in such a way that his wings are level and the nose stops turning at the same instant he reaches the new heading. Learning to make precision turns and to keep the plane in balanced flight is half of learning to fly. So practice turns at every opportunity and try to be conscious of the plane's balance every second you're